there was 8 influencers who just got charged in a pump and dump, one of which you followed.
Yeah. I was following those kids for a little while.
So there was 8 of them. There's 8 of them that are being charged with fraud.
Yeah.
It's a tough word from the SEC. When the SEC calls it fraud, you got a big problem. One of them was a Saved by the Bell guy. SEC charges Zach Morris and 7 others in a pump and dump gang that's a lot of money, dog, for $100 million stock manipulation scheme. So, like I said, the SEC has filed charges of fraud. Fraud, that's a big crime. Fraud's a big crime. With the Southern District of Texas, but they were all over the place. A few of them were in Hoboken. A few were in California. So the media personality was Zach Morris. That was his smoke screen. That was his smoke. The marketing is strong with this one. If I was Yoda, I would say the marketing is strong with this one. Zach Morris, I'm Saved by the Bell. It's nostalgic. Mm-hmm. You got a bunch of 30-somethings and 40-somethings looking for a little supplemental income, who hate their job at Sprint. They hate their job at Enterprise rental cars. They get online. They make a little money off those first few pump and dumps because that's how they reel you in. They reel you in by making you a little money. And then they go, hey, follow this stock, follow this stock, follow this stock. And you don't ask questions after that because they've made you money in the past. Meanwhile, what they're doing is gaining followers because you're going to your boy, you got to follow this guy. You got to follow this guy. I made Miss Money. This guy knows. He made me money. Little do you know, he allowed you to make some money for the purposes of marketing himself as a guru that would be followed through word of mouth and those little deals. Probably on a few blue chips he threw in there as well. Probably threw a few blue chips in there. A few of them probably were he was prescient. Probably he was prescient on a few stocks that weren't even blue chips where he had some insider information and he made some people some money. And then as greed takes over, you start doing the pump and dump on what they call penny stocks. What are penny stocks? Invest in Long Days Corporation. Have you guys heard of the Bay Ridge Boys LLC? And you create the value of it because you have the platform. Now, is that protected by free speech? Okay, look, I'm a free speech guy. I even would go so far as to say irresponsible speech in the context of satire is responsible speech, right? I'll defend the comedians. In the context of satire, irresponsible speech is responsible speech. But, when your intentions are fraud, that's what you call irresponsible free speech. Because what they were doing was using their profile. It gets a little better as you drink it, like a Philly blunt.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah, that's what it is. You get used to it. That's shit coffee. They create the value of it by marketing it. It's their product, basically, that they're selling you. So they market it. Your belief in them, based on what they might have done to you in the past or where they might have been right in the past, is what fosters your trust for them, and then they take off. So the group allegedly engaged in a long-running fraudulent scheme to manipulate securities by publishing false and misleading information on online stock trading forums. What's false and what do you mean? Why is it misleading and false? Did they ever claim it wasn't? They were probably just hyping it up. Let me guess. Paste Magazine's list of the best 2022 comedy specials is objective law handed down on tablets from Yahweh. I mean, but because this guy is making money off it, he's evil, but that person that writes that complete bullshit list isn't fraudulent. This whole era is fraudulent, and the party's over, which is fun to watch because everyone's going away in handcuffs. Here's Zach Morris. Mr. Zach Morris is his handle. He's standing in front of a Bugatti. He's standing in front of a Bugatti. Of course. because that's what makes you a man. He's standing in front of his Bugatti, and everyone wants to be in front of him in his Jordan 3s, I think. And he goes, treat yourself. He forgot the rest of that sentence, which is, with your money. Treat myself with your money. Just like people forget the rest of the sentence. Like, they forget the rest of the sentence when they go, Andrew Tate is a masculine man and a genius with 175 IQ who, with his genius, figured out how to start a online cam business of prostitutes and soft pornography. Listen. Hugh Hefner was a pretty smart guy too, you know? Genius IQ, maybe. But if he's a genius IQ and he starts a porno mag, I'd say a little bit of an underachiever. You know, I'd say, I don't know what your standards are, but can you imagine Albert Einstein was like, fuck this, I'm going to go start a cam girl business. Could you imagine if Mark Zuckerberg was like, fuck this coding, dog. I want to do stand-up comedy. I want to become a comic. So to promote the stock, they used their own stock trading for like Atlas Trading, co-founded by Morris and Matlock. Oh, isn't that a cozy coincidence? And Sapphire Trading, founded by the other guy, who gives some Polish name. Knight and Hennessy have a podcast called Pennies, Going in the Raw. Of course they got a podcast. whatever they could use to get their message out. The guy who did my water at my house has a podcast. I bet you I've been bathing in acid rain for the last whatever, you know? And I bet you've got 1 million followers because who cares about the product as long as the messaging is right? In this era of complete bullshit. They utilize their Twitter accounts that have a combined following of 2 million followers. Let's probably say 500,000 of which are fake, or maybe 1 million, or maybe 1.2 million, which are fake. That convinced the other 800,000 that they're bigger than they are. Convince the other two following, that they're doing the right thing. The defendants claimed on their Twitter accounts that they were not providing stock recommendations or financial amounts. However, they intended for their followers to act on their promotional tweets and assumed that they would. The commission got a hold of the group's private conversations on Discord, yikes, and characterized these as them bragging and laughing about making profits at the expense of their followers. Let's take a peek. I almost just spit snot out of my nose because that is funny. Let's take a peek. Dreams do come true, motherfuckers. These guys are what you call the financial geniuses of 2022.
That's right.
You know? This is what we got now. Dreams do come true, and he's standing in front of a Bugatti. The SEC would describe as surreptitiously recorded a Discord call. Knight was revealed to have acknowledged their acts constituting market manipulation. They got, this is the end of Goodfellas. They got their phones tapped. This is, I quote, he goes, the less I mention a stock, the less likely I get involved, whenever all of Atlas gets a class action fucking lawsuit. I'm playing this extremely smart for the long term. If you don't think all these fuckers go to jail or at least get sued, you're crazy. Playing stupid does not work in court. It's market manipulation. I mean, you look up the definition of market manipulation, he said in his private Discord chat. So they knew exactly what they were doing. Knight goes on to say, get caught. Here's the best part. We're robbing fucking idiots of their money. And then the other fucking douchebag named Cooperman goes, it's so funny because I can see like the timeline of these. Like I get the ticker, I send it to Dan. I know Dan's on voice. Dan tells you guys, I see it go up more. Then I see it, send it to Gary, and I see it go up like way more. Ha, 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 laughter. My other thing is to like, all right, if we lose on one of these, we've won on like 100. That's exactly the point I made. right? So they let you make a little money, they lose on a few, but they get a net gain on their bullshit. We got to remember with these ultra ones, they all do the same thing. It's like spikes come down for a second, night, then the scalpers get out, like Gary, get out then. And then it goes fucking bucko. Then it goes fucking buco, right? These guys are financial geniuses. But no, that's not only it. Like what he does is he alerts it, and then like 5 minutes later, as little minions start like retweeting it and saying added with him. So it like builds the hype back up. All right, so the keywords here are as he tweets it, as it builds the hype back up. It happens every time. They have their shit down to a fucking science. It's crazy. The party ends. And none of these criminals ever get out. You can't get out. You never think the curtain's going to come down. It's an addiction. All his followers are like, oh, yo, we can't sell today. I don't have any day trades left. In another example, one of the guys claimed he actually lost money from his position in ABVC Biopharma. Right? Because nobody trusts Moderna or Merck. So you got to go with ABVC Biopharma, which stands for Adam, Barry, Vic, and Charlie's Biopharma, somewhere out there in Long Island, sitting in a fucking strip mall in an empty storefront. A stock they selected to promote and then dump. That's exactly right. He said in a tweet that he's a bag holder of the stock and he won't dump on anyone. But in reality, he made approximately $68,690 in 2 days, including the day he posted the tweet. Deal also had a similar act with American Resources Corp. You got to throw America into the title, right? When your boy starts a company through another intermediary where you guys know, when they incorporate and open some storefront in a strip mall in Long Island as like an official address, you got to throw the name American in there because dopes really love American. And so he claimed he lost $20,000 on that stock after, quote, 1.5 million shares were sold over 5. He, however, actually made more than $7,000 from dumping his shares. So it's a pump and dump. It's your classic pump and dump. And they were big, these kids, right? You followed one of them.
Yeah, I followed Zach Morris.
You followed Zach Morris?
Yeah.
I followed Slater.
You followed Slater. Yeah, it was hilarious.
And the other people who followed Screech weren't able to continue investing because rest in peace.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Screech. God, Morris made approximately $4.3 million after hyping the stock of Camber Energy posting price targets and projecting long holds, and then dumping around 2 million shares at $2.61 after calling for a $10 price tag.
I mean, if you're not taking stock advice from a 90s sitcom star, I mean, who are you taking advice from?
Look, this is the era where people have been taking advice from these online accounts, from the most known to these guys who were pretty known, to Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and other influencers about crypto and how it's the future and NFTs and the metaverse and stocks, because this is the era where institutions crumbled. And the institutions used to be no better too, and then they got regulated, right? So they all used to do this, right? Your Merrill Lynch's, all of them got caught because it's a greed game. So at a certain point, the government comes in. Sorry, libertarians. Human nature is not pure when left in a laissez-faire environment. Man is a greedy criminal. Mankind is a greedy criminal. Is that his real name?
No, this is the actual Zach Morris.
Oh, that's the real guy.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah. He had nothing.
Meanwhile, this guy, he should have sued, for using his likeness, right? The real Zach Morris is trying to get some extra work on the new Wednesday Netflix show. Mark Paul Gozalar I mean, he's probably going like AJ Slater has become the face of Entertainment Tonight or whatever. What about Zach Morris? Everyone forgot about Zachy.